I mean, the world is rife with examples of teachers, or I think the word they use in America is like, there's a specific job role that people have, and they're told that all they're suited for is, to be a bin collector or prison ward or something like that. Warden rather. And it's at that particular age, you're very susceptible to that type of criticism. So you think, oh, maybe I can't do it.
I had this. So they're called career advisors. I remember I had one of these at school, where they, at quite an early age, they try and nail down what career you want. And I remember I came and sat down in front of this guy, and we had like about 2 minutes, and the whole school did it, or everyone in our year. And I sat down, and he asked me a series of questions. And I remember one of the questions was, do you like to work indoors or outdoors? And my answer to that was, well, that depends, which wasn't one of the answers that he could write down, because he obviously had a tick box. So it got him very angry with me. He said, what do you mean it depends? And I said, well, if I'm living in a hot country, I'd rather be outdoors. But if I'm living in a cold country, I'd rather be indoors. And he said, don't be obstinate. He got really angry with me. And I was absolutely right, because I am now in Spain where it's hot, and yet I'm indoors, and I'd much rather be outdoors. Whereas in the UK, if it was rainy and cold, I wouldn't want to be outdoors. So, I was absolutely bang on. I was completely correct. And I wasn't trying to be pugnacious, and I wasn't trying to be facetious or anything. I was simply giving him my honest answer. But he bit my head off about it and recommended that I should join the armed forces.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So,
join the army if you're going to be like that. Oh, get some discipline.
Yeah, it's crazy. But not
that there's anything wrong with joining the army.
I came across one the other day where, and this I think is pertinent right now. And John Lennon was asked at school as well. Now, John Lennon, obviously being one of the founding members of the Beatles, which is arguably the best band that ever came about. Certainly, it was a paradigm shift amongst music. It really changed the way that modern music is. So anyway, he was one of the Beatles, and he lived with his aunt, and his aunt always told him, John, she said, the most important thing in life is to be happy. Now, it doesn't matter what happens. You don't have to be the richest. You don't have to be the most successful. You don't have to be. You'll be successful if you're happy. So happy is the most important. And so when John Lennon was asked at school what he wanted to be when he was grown up, of course his answer was, I want to be happy. So the teacher, completely failing to understand, I guess, the whole concept of happiness, was so sort of entrenched in his own perspective about what was a required answer, that he bit John Lennon's head off and said, John Lennon, you don't understand what I'm saying. I'm asking you what you want to be when you're grown up. To which John Lennon replied, no, you don't understand what you're saying. I want to be happy. And there you are. I'm not sure John Lennon ever really became happy. I don't think he's the happiest person in the world, but he definitely lived his own truth, which is probably more than the teacher was doing, seeing as the teacher seemed to be getting angry with the child and not being able to understand their point of view.
Do you know if they still do careers advisors these days?
I'd be amazed if they don't.
Well, I mean, it's a very interesting concept, actually, to say what you'd like to do in the future, considering we don't even know what jobs will be available in the future. So if you take this example, can you imagine if you said to your careers advisor, I'd like to be a podcaster?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It doesn't exist. That job doesn't exist yet.